Hello everyone, it's Melinda here with CatSmashPuzzles, and today we're going over the Orange County 12-hour marathon that took place on June 13th, and I am very excited to share it with you because I went with the fastest Texans, with the exception of Boy Wonder, and you know what? It was such a great time, and I kind of want to go over it with you in the next couple videos here. So the first video will be about traveling to Orange County, California, our basic strategy, getting started, and then rounds 1 through 6. And then the second video will showcase round 7 through the last round, and then the results. So that's going to be the breakdown of these videos. And so I am going to go over how we did. I will run the footage that I got, and then I will kind of go over each of the puzzle results that we did, and where we're placing so far through round 6. Alrighty, so let's get started. I think Amy reached out to me and a few of us and basically said, do you want to form a Texas team for the Orange County 12-hour marathon? And you know what? I wasn't sure if I was going to go at the time that she reached out, but I figured it would be a good thing to maybe just say, yeah, I'll think about it. It's a day. I haven't flown out to California yet. And it was back in November when we kind of organized it because we were all having nationals on our mind because that's when the tickets were available. And so we kind of formulated the team and we set a date. So our team included me, Christina, and Shea, who you're very familiar with. We team up all the time. And then we also teamed up with Amy, Kelsi, and Calie. And Amy, Kelsi, and Calie run kind of the Texas JPA down there in Houston. And they are one of the 3 fastest down in Houston, with the exception of Boy Wonder. And so they team up with him. They do all sorts of speed puzzling events. They come up to the DFW location and do some events. And they have a lot of fun with it. And so they knew teaming up with Christina, Shea, and I will be a super fast team. And so that was the plan. And our team name was Yeehaw and Jigsaws. We went through about a couple different formulations of the team name, but that's the one that stuck, and that's what we agreed on. And so our Texan team was born. We got ourselves some TX JPH t-shirts here. And so we didn't quite do a lot of planning. I'll be upfront about it. We kind of did a lot of things last minute. You know, we got the t-shirts last minute. You can do all sorts of things at the 12-hour marathon on your table. You can decorate. You can do costumes. It's very much a fun event. It's not so strict like Nationals is. It has a little bit more relaxing vibe, and of course you have 12 hours to do all these puzzles. It's not as strict, basically, but there were rules, don't get me wrong. So I'll kind of go over what the 12-hour marathon setup was like, and then I'll briefly go over my little travel story to get to California, and then we'll move on into the rounds. So the 12-hour marathon, there were at least 40 teams that could sign up for the event. And you could have a team of 4 to 6 people. But only 4 team members were doing the puzzle at a time. So if you had a 5th or 6th person, they would be to the side, either relaxing, eating, or just, taking a break, basically. And they would fill in as the course of the day progresses, basically. But, we also did a schedule. And so we wanted to make sure each of us had a break. Each of us worked on a puzzle that was to our strengths and avoided the ones that were our weakness, things of that nature. But there were some teams that only had 4 members, and unfortunately they would be puzzling the entire time. They could probably take a break, 1 person here, 1 person there, but then only 3 people would be puzzling. Thankfully, we had the max amount of people allotted, and so it worked out really well for us. So back in November, I booked the flight, I booked the hotel. Christina and I were going to share a hotel. Shea and I basically were on the same flight, but not next to each other, unfortunately. But everything was booked. We prepared to go. The goal was to get there Friday afternoon, and we would have dinner, and we would have a discussion about what our plans were, how we would basically split it up, what our strengths were, what our weaknesses were. So that was our plan. We were just to meet up, have a dinner, but that didn't quite happen. Travel is not for the weak, I'll tell you this right now. So Christina, Shea, and I went up to the airport, sat together, had lunch a little bit, and then we split up to go to our flights. But Shea's and I's flight unfortunately got delayed due to a maintenance issue. Then it was delayed due to weather, which there was a storm on the horizon. And then it was delayed again for a couple hours, actually. So we're like, well, dinner's going to be late, unfortunately. Then they simply canceled our flight. So yeah, that was a concern. We needed to be there in the morning. And so Shea and I looked on the app. We found a flight that was leaving at about 8:30. We quickly rebooked it, and so we did have a flight, thankfully. Hopefully it won't be canceled or delayed too long. And it worked out for that flight. Christina's flight was also delayed, but she didn't get canceled. We met back up in the, in the terminal, talked a little bit. And while we were still talking, the hotel called me. And they told me the room I booked, which was 2 queen beds, had an issue, like a maintenance issue of some sort. So they were going to move me to a single king bed. I'm like, is there a second bed of some sort? And they're like, yeah, there's a pull-out couch. I looked over at Christina, and she's like, we'll have to do what we can. So our hotel also switched up on us. Again, things that just weren't, anybody's fault, just unfortunate travel issues. But Christina got on her flight, Shea and I got on ours, and we got to California at about midnight, 12:30. So dinner definitely didn't happen. We'd had no planning beforehand. And so we got to the hotel about 1:30 and went straight to bed. So that was the unfortunate aspect of travel to California. But again, no one's fault, just a lot of issues that just had to happen in a row. But we got up in the morning, had a quick bite to eat, and then all of us piled into a car. Some of us had to go in a separate car with a few other teams, but they were also fellow Texans. They were just on a different team. And so we went to the community center where it was located. It's a beautiful place to hang out. You can just, go outside, enjoy the area. There was a couple food areas around that you could get food delivered and all that. But it was a good community center. It was a good space to do it. It was kind of like a community/senior center, I think, activity center of some sort. And it was like in a gym/theater type room, I would call it. We get to the community center, and we basically got a sheet of paper like this that showed us all the puzzles. So unlike most speed puzzling competitions, they do not have it like in an opaque bag, and you don't know the puzzles beforehand, and it's not a new release puzzle. All these puzzles have been pre-released before, so there's not really a surprise aspect of the 12-hour marathon. This is purely how fast can you do these puzzles in the allotted time and as many as you can. It's not about secrets and, kind of guessing. You know the puzzles. And so we get our sheet and we immediately start organizing the schedule. So since we have 6 members, we can, switch in and out and try to alleviate some of us who are doing too many in a row. And again, this is 12 hours. You still got to go to the bathroom. You got to eat. You got to do all this other stuff. So you can't do it continuously. You kind of have to figure out a schedule. So they gave us 12 puzzles, all 1,000-piece puzzles, and you had to do them in the order that they basically had them. You couldn't just do them in a random order because once you finish your puzzle, they would have the next puzzle ready to go for you to do it. And I'll kind of go over a little bit briefly what the rules were. So when you start the puzzle, obviously the first one you start, and then once you finish the puzzle, someone on the team who is puzzling has to take a picture really quick. And then once that picture is taken, there's proof that the puzzle was completed. Then you take it off, all the way off like you would do in a team event, and then you would start the next puzzle. I'll say this, it's not as clean as like the burrito method that we do with the Ravensburgers, but it's okay. So we get there, each team has like a fourth of a table in the kind of the break room area. So there's so many people had all their camera equipment, they had all their, food and just all their personal items. So, but we were able to, get our stuff in. I was able to claim an outlet, thankfully, because I needed to keep my batteries running. And I'll kind of go over my camera issues in a minute, but I knew there was going to be an issue with it because I've never done an event of this length with my camera. And I've always been able to turn it off after my puzzle's done, which is, usually under the hour. So an hour is fine. 12 hours, consistently, I didn't think it would last that long. And I was right. Let's go ahead and start our 12-hour marathon here. So the first puzzle is a Cobble Hill puzzle called More Cheese Please, and I'll try to put pictures of it up here. I'll run the footage and then we'll go over each puzzle in more details. And that's the puzzle that started everybody off. There were 34 teams in total, and we were team number 13, but I don't think they were ranked for any reason. It was probably the number where you signed up, so we were probably the 13th team that signed up. And we also picked the table where we wanted to be. So there were tables in the back that didn't want to be filmed, so they were in the back, and then anyone else could be up in the front area. So we were kind of on the front/left side. So who were the teams we were against? Well, I knew a few people. There was a couple teams where Melinda and Kenzie, they were together, and I think they had teamed up with Kyle. So we knew there were some strong puzzlers in the mix. There was a couple USA JPA board members on one team as well, and I know a few of the Twitch puzzlers were also on a team. So it was a mix of some people, and then I also saw some nationally ranked people, Karen Puzzle's team. But we weren't the only fast team there. So we knew we were going to have some competition. And I think our goals were pretty clear, and I think they were pretty reasonable. We wanted to be in the top 5, and we wanted to finish all 12 rounds of the puzzles and get to the next round after the 12th one. So as you can see, only 12 puzzles are listed here, but if your team finished the 12th round, you moved on to 2,000 piece puzzles, and there's rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16. And if for somehow you get to finish round 16, you would restart in round 13. So I think William basically said that mathematically, even the fastest teams ever couldn't finish to round 16. So, I think the faster teams can finish between 30 to 32 minutes. Do the math on 12 hours, 1,000-piece puzzles, then 2,000-piece puzzles, which are probably be an hour for a faster team. It doesn't quite reach 12 hours. It's over that. So, yeah, I think they did the math correctly. They had enough puzzles for even the fastest people. So, first the table was me, Christina, Shea, and Amy. So we started it out, and we did the Cobble Hill puzzle, which was actually quite difficult. But I'll go ahead and run the footage of what I have from rounds 1 through 6, and then I'll go over each puzzle separately, kind of my feels about it, and how we did, and who was scheduled to win and where, and kind of how we were feeling by the end of round 6. So, 12-hour puzzling marathon. Let's smash it.
train should be.
Okay, Melinda, I'm training with you.
Okay. Complete picture. Picture taken.
I can't bring this
Okay.
around.
Come on.
You gotta come out box. You gotta go out that way. I think it's
Can't scoop it up. Go.
Oh, I broke the box.
That's okay.
This poster here in the box. Just set it out. Yes, bring in the energy. So we kind of
I'll be right back.
See ya. You just thought you were getting a break.
Complete.
It can't touch the table until that one's
You can hold it.
You can hold it. You just can't touch it.
Anybody need anything? So I guess I'll choose purple because it's right in front of me. I think instead of doing border, we almost should just do color. By color.
So, we are now through round 6 of the 12-hour marathon. And I don't know if you noticed in the footage, but I did not get all 6 puzzles in the footage, unfortunately. So let me go over which puzzles we did through round 6, and then I'll tell you which ones you did not see. So first was More Cheese Please by Cobble Hill. Again, these are all 1,000-piece puzzles. And got the whole footage on that one. Second round was Spicy Scream, Exploding Kittens. I did not get the end of that puzzle. I got through about 3/4 of it, and then my footage unfortunately got corrupted due to the overheating mechanism, and I could not recover it. The third puzzle was a truffle puzzle from Waikiki Beach, which was a very difficult puzzle. I'll go over that in detail in a second. I got no footage of that. My entire file for that one was corrupted, sadly. That one was kind of probably a lot of commentary I would have liked to have heard. But it was a difficult puzzle, and that one did not get filmed. And then the fourth round was the Mardi Gras puzzle from White Mountain, where I did not get the beginning, but I got most of a fourth into it to the end. So I did get the footage there. Fifth round was Cupcake Rainbow, Eurographics, and I got halfway through that puzzle, I think, and then the footage cut off, again, got overheated and corrupted the file. And then finally the sixth round, which is the Tom and Jerry Hall of Fame puzzle, Ravensburger. I got no footage of that one either due to the corrupted file. As you can see, there was a lot of camera issues I had to deal with, and I did my best to try to resolve it, tried to recover some of the files. I did recover one of them. I could not recover the other two. So that was, again, due to the continuous filming, and I tried to turn the camera off here and there. That was the goal. I knew it would not be able to handle 12 hours continuous filming, so I tried to turn it off. But again, I was also puzzling, and I got off of it. Sometimes forgot to turn it back on. So that might have been on me a little bit. I tried to ask some of my team members for help here and there, but ultimately it was my responsibility. So I apologize. I wanted to get as much footage as I can. I did get a lot. I will say this. I actually have more footage on the second video than this one, but I want to kind of go over a lot of the details with you so that way more of the footage can play on the next video. And of course, the results, a lot more happier things to discuss than travel issues and overheating cameras. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over each round, what I showed you, and how it went. So, first things first, we did the More Cheese Please by Cobble Hill. We finished it in 53 minutes, which is great. I think that was a hard puzzle. It was dark in so many areas, and there was a lot of cheese. And I mean a lot of cheese. We keep saying, oh, I have a cheese piece here, and someone, I think, would say, well, the whole puzzle is cheese. So it was a lot of bantering. And I think we had a good start. We were energized. It was the first puzzle. We felt pretty good about it. However, 51 minutes in, we heard the clapping. So there was a team ahead of us now. And what team would that be? That team is Having a Good Time. And that team consists of Karen Puzzles, Gina and Kathy, who are twins, who are very well known in the speed puzzling community, Andrea P., Hannah S., and Karen with a C. And all 6 of them are like gold belts for speedpuzzling.com. So they are a pretty strong team. And I didn't realize who was all on Karen Puzzles' team, and then I was told, and I'm like, oh, that's a stacked team. We're going to have a hard time beating them. And they finished it 2 minutes ahead of us for the first puzzle, which isn't bad. You know what? 2 minutes is pretty slim margins for a team puzzle. I was pretty happy with that. And we just kept on trucking. But the next puzzle, which was the Spicy Scream Exploding Kittens, I actually stepped out on this one. And this is actually one of the 2 puzzles I did not touch at all. So I stepped out, and Shea, Christina, Kelsi, and Amy took over for this one and did it. And from what I understand, this was a lot of fun. Christina had a lot of fun with it. There was a lot of gradients going on with it, so it was one of her strengths. And unfortunately, I did not get the end when they finished it up and moved on to the third puzzle, which I got no footage of, unfortunately, the Truffle Waikiki Beach. And if you don't know, Truffle is a bit notorious for the false fits, and because of that, it can be hard. Depends on the puzzle image, basically, but I'll put it up here for you, but it's blue sky with clouds and palm trees. And if you haven't puzzled the palm tree before, it's not easy, and especially if there's multiple palm trees. And I do think that my team members who were doing it really, really struggled with it. And this was now Shea's third puzzle in a row. And it was Shea, Kelsi, Amy, and Calie on this one. So it was Houston plus Shea, basically. So Christina had taken a break now. I've taken a break. And I think the way that we structured it was that Christina, Shea, and I would have kind of a break here and there. Kelsi and Calie and Amy would kind of fill in here and there. But basically, we all wanted to make sure we had at least no more than 4 puzzles in a row, because I think that at that point we would all be fatigued and we would slow down. So we wanted to make sure each of us had a break, at least enough. And then, of course, ordering lunch was a kind of a thing to do as well. We had to make sure we timed that properly. So, but it was interesting. You're just doing the puzzle and you're like, oh, eh. And of course, I had just done one puzzle and I was kind of hungry for more. And I was standing on the sidelines and I don't know who exactly asked me to pull in. I think it was Kelsi, but she's like, hey, I'm struggling with this puzzle. I'm done. Can you hop in? So I hopped in on the Waikiki Beach puzzle. And yeah, it was palm trees, blue sky, false fit, nightmare. I was okay. I was refreshed, so it didn't bother me too much. And we finished that puzzle in 54 minutes. I forgot to mention the Exploding Kittens puzzle, we finished it in 42. So that was pretty good. Good times for all this. Waikiki Beach went back to 54. So definitely a harder puzzle once you get over that 50-minute mark for a team. Now we're into round 3. How are we comparing ourselves to Karen Puzzle's team? Well, we have slightly fallen behind because they're averaging about 3 to 5 minutes ahead of us on each puzzle. So the gap's getting a bit bigger per puzzle. Now at this point, we knew we were in second place, and so we felt pretty confident we were going to be in that top 5, and we felt pretty good about finishing these puzzles timely, but we were getting a little bit on the close to the hour mark, so if we wanted to get to that 13th round for the 2,000-piece puzzle, we've got to move a little faster. So moving on to round 4, which was the White Mountain Mardi Gras puzzle. And this one was definitely one that I was going to be in because I felt like I would be good at it. Because it's pattern recognition, and it's all the same colors, green, purple, and yellow, or I guess gold in this case. But it was actually a bit more difficult than I was expecting. I was going to go for the top mask part area, but I didn't quite get to it. It just wasn't screaming out to me, and I just started putting random things together. I think Christina did like the bowl of cupcakes, or I guess, what is it, the king cake here. And so we just kind of went at it. And again, the footage for this, I did not get the beginning, but I did get the end, thankfully. And that puzzle took us exactly 1 hour. Now, I didn't mention this, and I should have mentioned it earlier. The times are only an hour and minutes, not seconds. Because it's 12 hours long, they aren't recording the seconds, so it's just 1 hour, 54 minutes, etc. This is based on piece count, really, more than it is time, so that's why I'm not mentioning any seconds. So we were exactly at the 1 hour mark for the Mardi Gras puzzle. Difficult, a lot of purple, a lot of gold, a lot of green, but we got through it, and that was with Kelsi, Calie, and Christina. So Shea finally got her break with that puzzle, which she definitely needed. And so we moved on to Cupcake Rainbow, which was a Eurographics puzzle. And this puzzle I am very familiar with because I have done a 500-piece version of it. Now, it wasn't a Eurographics puzzle. It was one of those cheap puzzle brands I must have picked up from somewhere. But I was very familiar with it. I knew that some cupcakes were harder than others, but I definitely wanted to be in that one because I knew we'd be pretty quick at it. I was familiar with it. So it was going to be Christina, Shea, Calie, and me. And so we got busy, sorted all the colors, got it done. And unfortunately, my footage cut out halfway through. That one was disappointing to have missed out on to see the end, because it was a very fast puzzle, because we did it in 39 minutes, which we got under 40 minutes. I was super happy with that. And, it was just, I was going through that puzzle so fast. Like, it felt like a wonderful one to do if I wanted to just test my skills with a 1,000-piece puzzle. That would have been a good one to see if I can maybe get under the hour and a half by myself. But, hey, it's all right. It was a good puzzle to do. It was a lot of fun. Now, finally, our 6th round, which was the Tom and Jerry Hall of Fame puzzle here, Ravensburger. So, a familiar face, familiar brand. I think it was a little slow for Raven's Poker Puzzle, but I think it was also a rather difficult one. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. I think we're doing great. We're through round 6, and we're under the 6-hour mark, which is good. Now, if each puzzle took an hour, we would be right at the 12th round and finishing that. We wouldn't have quite gotten to the 2,000 piece. So we have about an hour buffer that we have in order to get to that 13th round. So we're getting close to our goal of getting all 12 puzzles done, and we're still in the top 5. We're still sitting at 2nd place. Karen Puzzles team has pulled ahead by about 26 minutes at this point. And each round, they're about 2 to 6 minutes ahead of us. So there's not a huge gap, but unfortunately with the marathon style, the gap just gets bigger each puzzle that happens. And it's really hard to come back from that. I do think if we had stayed within a minute, 2 minutes here and there, we would have caught up, but the fact that the gap was just getting bigger at this point. And the same thing on the other end. 3rd place was getting further away from us as well. And so it's very hard to catch up at that point. So we really just kind of focused on staying in 2nd place, and hopefully we would be getting through to the 12th round and getting to the 2,000 pieces. So that's kind of where we were trying to get to. So that's where we are at the end of round 6. So we're at the 5-hour mark, basically. And we're doing pretty good. How tired are we? We're tired. I am basically running on sugar cookies because someone brought some puzzle-shaped sugar cookies for everyone to eat, and they were sitting right next to my table, so every time I went by it, I snagged one. And that was literally my fuel for the day. I needed also more caffeine. I found some Diet Coke, and we just had snacks, and then we had Jersey Mike's for lunch. We just didn't have as much time as we wanted to organize our schedule and everything. And I had started being pulled in. I think Shea got pulled in a few. So there have been things in the schedule that's been changed. We had it written out, but we got swapped here and there because someone was tired, someone wanted to go eat lunch. Someone just didn't feel like they was doing good with the puzzle. And that's happened, and that was expected. So what was my feeling after the Tom and Jerry puzzle? I was okay. My back was hurting a little bit in certain areas. I'm used to puzzling for long periods of time, but I'm not used to puzzling, I guess, that much in that period of time, I guess you can say. That's a lot of puzzles. We've done, 6,000 pieces in 5 hours. That's a lot of puzzling. So we made it to California and completed rounds 1 through 6 of the 12-hour marathon. So far, we have pretty much successfully done our goals. We're getting them done faster than the hour, so our goal is to get through the 12 rounds, and we are sitting in the top 5 in 2nd place. I'd say we're smashing it. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in part 2 of the 12-hour marathon. Bye-bye.